Hello, I'm Lucia. Welcome to another Beauty and Crime Sunday with me, where I talk about different cases while I do my skincare. I always put what I'm using on the description below, so if you are really interested, you can check it out in the description box. Today we have a very real interesting case, the real Yandere case, which means Yanderu, which is insane in Japanese, and deredere, which means in love, hopeless, romantic kind of thing. The Yandere word really is often seen in manga and anime. The Yandere character is someone who appears loving and gentle at first sight, but deep down is a very aggressive, insane kind of character. It becomes obsessively violent or dangerous to the object of their affection, usually of extreme possessiveness or jealousness. The Yandere is often seen as dangerously loving or obsessively loving. Well, I just explained someone who is very unstable, so you would imagine that a lot of people want to stay away from her, right? But for a lot of people, a Yandere, it's an erotic dream. An erotic dream. For them, a Yandere would be a girl that a lot of people want to date. Not judging here, but if you're one of those people, please get help. This case is absolutely terrible. Also, how people reacted to this case makes it even more disturbing. I think that's the most shocking part of the case, how people reacted to the case. It's like, why? I still do not understand it. So now we're gonna move from the anime, the manga, we're gonna all leave it behind, forget about it, and we are gonna go inside reality, because this case, it became real. Today we're gonna talk about the case of Yuka Takaoka, the real Yandere. Yuka Takaoka was born in 1998. She is only 1 year older than me. Wow. Born in 1998 in Tokyo, Japan. We do not know much about her childhood, just small details from before the actual case. That's because most of the family members, friends, neighbors, or people that she knew, they did not really want to talk about the case. And I understand them, honestly, because I wouldn't want to be included in that mess. The few things that we actually know about her is what it could be saved from social media before everything happened. And all the social media was erased after, so that's the only information we know. We know that, like many other Japanese people, she was a fan of anime and manga. Even sometimes she liked doing different type of cosplays. She felt a deeper fascination for feminine characters that were introverted, shy, and a little quiet. The typical girl character on the background that did not talk a lot, that would be the girls that she actually cosplayed. A hopeless romantic, but when her wires got crossed, she would just snap, killing anyone that was in her path, even sometimes killing herself. So Yuka really liked those type of Yandere characters, but I don't really think she would imagine that she was actually gonna become one. As I said, we don't really know much about her past until a little before the crime actually happened. We know that in 2018 she started working as a manager in a girls' bar, a very original name, in Shinjuku, Japan. Those type of bars that for the Westerners are a little weird, a little odd. Which is, you have a little bar with a little island, a little couple chairs, some tables, not much more, in which all the workers are usually very young, from 18 to 25. That's usually the age. This is the typical bars you can find in Japan. But there is sometimes also like themed bars that, in those ones you can find very weird things. Basically anything you can find in those bars. But the typical bars, apart from offering you different drinks, the girls will kind of try to be your friend, talk to you about your issues, flirt a little, basically be your psychologist, I think. They do this so you will come more to the bar and ask for more drinks. And then the girls will get commissions depending on all the clients that they have. They are very similar to other bars that are in Japan called the host or hostess bars. This will also come important later in the case. It is very similar since you also have kind of like dates inside the bar in which you talk to the client for an hour about their problems, issues, whatever they want, honestly. At first, sometimes you get options, so you will go in the bar and they will have kind of like, I saw like a booklet where you have all the host or hostesses and you can select a couple of them. And the first time you go in there, you talk to each one and then you must select only one. And every single time you go in the bar, you will have dates with only that person. This bar is also working commissions. So even though in the contract it doesn't say anything like this, most of the times these talks end up in different hotels, if you know what I mean. Also, with this, you make sure that the customers keeps coming to the bar. So technically they're not sex workers, but it's a very thin line that could be crossed at any time. So after the explanation to make sense of the case, we have Yuka working as a manager in one of these bars. But it's important to say she's a manager, not a waitress. She organizes the girls in Kabukicho district in Japan, which is kind of like the red district in Tokyo, where let's say it's not the best place to be in, but it's not dangerous either. But if you wanted to find some illegal activity, that's where you have to go. So Yuka, one day, she meets a boy 1 year younger than her, Phoenix Luna, which will be the second main character in this case. He was a boy that worked in one of those host bars that I just talked about. So he kind of had that profile of making other people fall in love with him to get those commissions. So he was a very good host, and at that moment he was in a full high at his job. So that meant that he had a lot of dates. So Yuka falls in love with this guy, and we don't really know much about full details of the relationship. But from what I could gather, the feelings were mutual. So after a while, they started flirting and things started getting more serious. So we get to May 2019. Phoenix and Luna decide to make their relationship go to a whole nother level. And they start living together in a little Shinjuku apartment. At that time, Yuka was already 21. So she was a very pretty girl that had the typical Japanese beauty standard. She had a priori that shy look, very calm, not aggressive personality. And then we have the host on the other hand. The typical Japanese dude, same, very pretty for the Japanese beauty standards, very handsome. While also his job meant that he had to make everyone fall in love with him. So Yuka was not really saying anything, but the jealousness was eating her alive. So now let's go to when the crime actually happened. The 22nd of May 2019. She saw a photo of Phoenix hugging a girl, holding each other in a photo, very close. But that's it. Just the photo, nothing else. But she did not like that. No, no, no. The next day, Phoenix gets home late from work. He explained that he had to do some things in the manager's office, talking about his future at the hostess bar. The manager told him that he was doing a great job and that they wanted to promote him even more. Yuka, well, was not interested on what he was saying. She wanted to know one thing only. Who is this girl in the picture? Phoenix did not say anything. I don't know if he thinks he's helping with this, but I guess not. He just did not say anything. He went to the bathroom. He got naked to take a bath. Just relax, you know? He got out, put his underwear on, so he lays on the bed. Closes his eyes, and out of nowhere, he starts feeling this very uneasy feeling in his stomach. It's a very uncomfortable feeling, but he still doesn't know what it is. So he opens his eyes, looks down, and sees a knife through his stomach. And on top of him, Yuka is staring with a smile on her face and tells him, "Do you like me?" At that moment, I guess, Phoenix adrenaline kicked in. He said later that he didn't really feel any pain. So he pushed Yuka. Yuka fell down on the floor. And at that moment, however he could, he got up and just started running. Reminder, he is only on his underwear, all blood around his body, and he just starts booking it for the elevator. He got to the elevator, he got down, and in the building's hall, he just fainted. And he does not remember anything else about that night. And here is the most shocking part of the case, the most viral photo ever seen in Japan. Yuka just went down the elevator very calmly. She saw her boyfriend's body just agonizing in pain in the hall. She sits down very close by, lights a cigarette, takes her phone, and starts calling someone. We don't really know who she called, but a lot of people say that she actually called the police because after killing her boyfriend, she was gonna kill herself. But the problem here is Phoenix was not dead yet. He was passed out on the floor, but he's still breathing. Soon later, the police got to the crime scene, and that's where you can actually see the viral photo in which the police was with her, with both of them, and she's just smoking, talking to someone on the phone, while her boyfriend was just laying there, all blood. They were both full of blood. It is a scene taken out from a horror movie scene. So it's very hard to think that this was actually reality. Even though it was late, it was like 1, 2 a.m. in the morning, Tokyo was still very alive. Even more in those type of districts because the common hours were at night. People are in shock of what they're actually seeing. So people start taking pictures. And those photos start circulating everywhere. At first, it started from mouth to mouth, but later those photos were shared everywhere on the internet through Japan and later the world. So this story stops being a local story and moves for a story for the masses. The police started interrogating Yuka, and they obviously asked her, why did you do it? And the answers is also one of the most viral things of this case. She answered, because I loved him. She believed that if she killed him and then killed herself, that they would be together forever. A little delulu, if you ask me. This is a very big concept in the Yandere characters. A girl who is so mad in love that goes basically crazy. For most people, this girl would be a criminal. But what did really happen? For many people, she became the ultimate savior. From one side, we have her beauty. The other side, the otaku, the anime, the manga, the type of character that to that date, it was fiction. But in this case, it became reality, which created millions of followers. Not only boys that loved her, also girls that actually started falling in love with her. I don't know if it was actually falling in love with her or the idea of idolizing her. I really don't know. Please don't idolize a murderer. So she started receiving a lot of love letters, a lot of love comments, whatever. But if that wasn't enough, they actually started a GoFundMe to raise money for her to be released from prison. Reminder, she just stabbed her boyfriend in the stomach because of jealousy. This is also not the first case that happened in Japan that they started idolizing someone who did a very gruesome crime. For a lot of people, she started being someone to be admired. So what happened to Phoenix Luna? Are we talking about attempted murder or murder? Well, he survived. Clap, everyone. The doctors gave him a 20% chance of him surviving, but he actually did. And the most shocking part, he left the hospital and did not hold a grudge. He forgave Yuka for what she did. So now the punishment for this. How many years do you think she actually got? How many? Tell me. 3 years and a half. Yes, 3 years and a half for attempted murder. Great. So if this was in 2019, in 2023, she would already be released. So she's just walking freely through Japan. And I really just hope that she got the best psychiatric hospital care. Because if not, she's an explosion waiting to happen. Because I don't really think she feels very guilty for what she did. Every time the police officers asked her why did she do it, she would always tell them, because I loved him. I did it for love. So okay, this was today's case. I really think it was a little short, but I think it was short and concise. So what do you really think about this case? I honestly don't even know. I don't know how to feel about this case. The obsession for someone being so strong that you have to kill the other person so they can be together forever, and then the aftermath of actually idolizing that criminal like she's some kind of superwoman. A lot of people actually said that it was Phoenix's fault. Yes, Phoenix's fault for having that job and making her crazy. Well, I think both of them actually knew what they were getting into. And if you don't like it, just break up with them. Don't just kill him. This is definitely a very interesting case. Tell me your opinions down below. And please subscribe if you want to know more about this type of cases. Always remember to do your skincare, and remember, if you don't end up like a glazed donut at the end of it, you're not doing it right. Bye bye.